Hello, my friends. Rusty with you here. Great to see you on CFLW. I am remote today. I'm traveling with my family, but as always, I'm covering the storms for you guys here in Central Florida. And we're going to be talking about some really nasty storms moving into the Tampa St. Pete area as we move over the next hour or two. As always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through that insurance claim process. Check them out by going to leanonthelaw.com if you guys would like more information. Good to see everyone here. We're going to get into what's happening right now with the situation, and that is a cluster of potent storms that is going to be working its way into our western areas as we move over the next hour or two. So let's talk about what's been going on. Again, great to see everyone here. Appreciate you guys understanding that I'm remote today, but we've got all of our technology here to cover you guys with these storms. So we'll get into it. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect right now. This is going to, that's the special marine warning. Let's bring up the severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to go until 6:45 tonight. We do have some good forward speed with these storms north at 25 miles an hour, 3/4 inch size hail. Tampa, St. Pete, Lakeland, Sarasota, Bradenton, Plant City, Temple Terrace, Palmetto, Holmes Beach, and Mulberry, all within this severe thunderstorm warning. Let me give you the details on that right now from the National Weather Service office. So we'll bring up the actual bulletin. And again, it's a large cluster of storms. It's going to impact Hardee, Manatee, Pinellas, Polk, Hillsborough, northwestern Sarasota counties until 6:45. This storm does have the history of producing some 60-mile-an-hour winds. Now, on the leading edge of this, if you live in places like East Lake, Palm River, Claremelle, Mango, Brandon, Dover, Bloomington, Gibsonton, back down towards the Ruskin area. These are kind of the northern edges of this. You can see we've had some more than 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, even on the northeast side of these areas. So south of Plant City, north and west of Mulberry, and then back towards the Bartow area, 44 and 46-mile-an-hour winds, respectively, out of this. Some extremely strong winds in the Ruskin area as well. Even back down towards Bayshore Gardens and Sarasota, we are kicking up some nasty winds. And the lightning count with this, my friends, is quite potent right now. You're looking at lightning counts, what are over 900 lightning strikes in just the last 15 minutes. So this cluster continues to move north and west, getting into and deeper through Hillsborough County, back into portions of Pinellas County, over Hillsborough Bay, Tampa Bay, Skyway. All of these areas are subject right now to winds of 60 miles an hour and probably the potential for some inch-size hail. Ton of lightning with these storms as well, right near the Brandon area, Seffner, on over towards places like Valrico. Good to see everyone for today. Again, I'm remote from the studio for today. I'm traveling with my family, but we have the technology here at CFLW that regardless of that, I can jump on for you guys. You can see our live cameras for you here as well. And again, with these storms moving to the north and to the west, they're going to get deeper into the Tampa St. Pete area here as we move through the rest of the 6 o'clock hour and into the 7 o'clock hour as well. Solid lightning with these storms right now. For the rest of our area, if you live farther east today, the East Coast is going to be quieter. It's going to be drier. We could still have a few rumbles of thunder develop over the metro Orlando area. You will see our live cameras here, potentially showing you some of that activity. One little cell has popped up over Lake Nona and the MCO area on the southeast side of metro Orlando, but it's going to be a lot spottier there. Still could see a few rogue thunderstorms across I-75, so the Villages on over towards the Bushnell area, then back over towards Dade City. But it's this cluster of storms that I'm most concerned about for today. And earlier today, the Storm Prediction Center actually did put the area under a slight risk for severe storms. This is the marginal risk here, the 1 out of 5. So these storms are lining up right now with where we did expect there to be the healthiest chance for thunderstorm activity for today. Basically, there's this cold pool of air at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, which has allowed these thunderstorms to get a little bit on the nastier side as they moved off towards the west. Now, we've had some nasty storms back into Manatee and Sarasota counties already for today. Down towards Venice, they had a 43-mile-an-hour wind gust. Then Siesta Key had a 51. on over towards Sarasota itself, also a 51 at Sarasota Bay. Let's see here. The Manatee, the Whitfield area here of Manatee County had a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust there. And then inland sides of Manatee County had a 57. So Mayaca City, places like that. So our far southwest areas, pretty hefty thunderstorms already out there, certainly on the severe criteria with that one. So again, that is the activity that is moving into this area. I'm going to switch over to the Tampa radar real quickly as well. Let's do that. Okay, first thing I want to do here is just give me 1 second here, guys. Let me just reset this real quick. There we go. Okay. And then we'll switch over. Probably actually the Tampa radar is not the best thing. This is going to be clustered up there. It's Ruskin, and that storm is right over the Ruskin area right now. So the next thing I want to do, going north at 25, is I want to do a storm track for the areas that are going to next be impacted by this storm. So let me bring this up. And again, the one thing about this activity is it is moving very quickly. So some of the places that could be impacted, the Egypt Lake Lido area, University, Lake Magdalene, it's a new one for me, Town and Country 656, Carrollwood, and Northdale right around top of the hour. Then it pushes up the Veterans Expressway towards Citrus Park at 709, Palm Harbor 723, Tarpon Springs at 731, and Holiday Inn at 733. So again, areas of interest here through Hillsborough, portions of the northern sides of Pinellas County, and then maybe getting into the southern sides of Pasco County as well. Special marine warnings are obviously in effect with this cluster of severe storms. That is, again, going to be moving right across coastal areas of Pinellas and Hillsborough and Manatee counties, and then offshore. So for those boaters there, are going to watch out for winds of maybe around 40 miles an hour on the outside, but then towards the bays, you are looking at winds of 49 knots, so over 50 miles an hour with this one. So that's a strong special marine warning for the Gandy and the Howard Franklin and Egmont Key, the Skyway, Courtney Campbell, Anna Maria Island, Port Manatee, the Hillsborough Bay, Johns Pass, all of the major areas here around Hillsborough and Tampa Bays are going to be impacted, including Longboat Key. And so, again, that's winds of basically 55 miles an hour, 49 knots. It's great to see you guys on this Friday afternoon, now into the early evening hours. Again, traveling with my family. So I am remote, but we have all of the technology to be able to still cover these storms for you guys live here on CFLW. And I appreciate you guys taking a quick second. If you haven't already, hit the like button and hitting that subscribe button as well. First opportunity to jump into the chats. Yes. Hey, Chris, how you doing? RSDW did have a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. Hello, Noble Pills. Appreciate you. Hey, Marilyn, how you doing? Just came on the radar and checked it up. No doubt about it. Hi, Amy. Hi, Farah. Luis, Volusia's looking just fine today. Yeah, down in Fort Myers area. Gotcha. But also we had a 60 in Manatee County as well. Hey, Desert Rose. Hey, Dr. Checkmate, getting squirrely there in West Lakeland. Appreciate the report out of West Lakeland. Yes, again, if you guys are being impacted by this cluster of severe storms, let me know in the comments section below. This one is going to be moving right into the Tampa Bay area. Now, this particular severe thunderstorm warning is going to expire right at 6:45. We'll see what the National Weather Service office out of Ruskin wants to do. You can clearly see that there are pockets of extremely heavy rain and maybe even some fairly large size hail in the Brandon area right now, on over towards Mango, Seffner, back into Bloomingdale. Ton of lightning associated with all this activity. Storms are as far east as the western side of Polk County. So basically right down 37 out of Lakeland, down towards the Mulberry area, kind of right on the edge of the worst weather. There's additional scattered rain towards Auburndale and east, okay? But it's pretty spotty in nature overall there. And again, you're going to get clusters of other storms back into Orlando, but probably not as significant today. There could be a few isolated good lightning storms in Orlando, and then I-75 could see some additional heavier activity as well. So Wildwood back over towards Lake Pan and the Bushnell areas. And then a little storm here, looks like just north of San Antonio and west of the Dade City area. So in the short term, they've allowed this severe thunderstorm warning to expire. I'm going to double check. I've got special weather statements on as well. So we'll see what the Weather Service wants to do here. Let me make sure I get these wind gusts back on for you guys as well. So again, these are wind gusts in just the last hour, but we already looked at down in the Mayaca City area. They had a 60-mile-an-hour wind. Hey, Liam, how you doing? Romans finally getting the rain. I hope you enjoy it. Indeed, Michael, that storm is heading into the South Tampa area, McDill, Davis Island, if you guys know these spots. So there's McDill, there's Davis Island, South Tampa. Again, all this activity is north and west. And as we expected, not surprising, I'm actually surprised they didn't overlay these severe thunderstorm warnings. But now we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for a lot of Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. And that is going to take us to 7:15. So here we go on that one. Let's get you the information on that one. New severe thunderstorm warning till 7:15. Now, the one thing about these storms is they have really solid forward speed. They're moving northwest at a good clip, 31 miles an hour. Radar indicated hail threat of 3/4-inch size, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's the main widespread impact, is damaging wind gusts 60 miles an hour or higher. Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Largo, Pinellas Park, Plant City, Temple Terrace, Safety Harbor, West Park, in the Oldsmar area, all included within this severe thunderstorm warning. We'll take a look at the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service office. 51-mile-an-hour wind at the St. Pete Airport, by the way. Just had a 51 at the St. Pete Airport. Look, if you live in Tampa, St. Petersburg right now, these are nasty storms. Stay inside. Stay away from east and south-facing windows because these storms are moving north and west. So you look to the south and to the east. That's where they're coming from right now. So Pinellas County, Hillsborough County till 7:15. Severe thunderstorm near Ruskin, 11 miles southwest of Brandon, moving northwest at 30. Again, roofs, siding, trees could be impacted by these winds. And just reported, that's actually not the airport, is it? No, PIE is up here. So this is just downtown St. Petersburg. Sorry, KSPG. 51-mile-an-hour wind. Reported just now, 6:41. So you want to talk about some winds coming across Hillsborough and Tampa, the bays. There you go. That'll be moving into places like Pinellas Park and Seminole, and then back over to the St. Pete Airport. That's PIE on your screen. But 75 is covered up right now. Western Hillsborough County. Plant City has just had a 38-mile-an-hour wind. Again, rough weather for Brandon, Mango, Seffner, Valrico, moving across I-4 over East Lake, downtown Tampa, Seminole Heights, Temple Terrace, some of the next areas likely impacted by this. So a couple of areas to storm track for you guys. And again, if you're being impacted by this, let us know in the comment section below. Now, again, I'm going to have to redo this real quick, guys. I didn't give myself enough space up north as fast as these things are going. Just double check it. It's about 30 miles an hour, right? Yeah, we're going to go 30. Okay. When they're going that fast, you got to give yourself a little bit of a wider berth here on the radar. So for the north side of this should get into southwest Pasco County before it clears and moves off. This will push offshore, of course, but Temple Terrace, the Egypt Lake area, University, Town and Country, Greater Carrollwood and Northdale, Citrus Park, Tarpon Springs, and eventually on over towards Holiday at 7:36. Again, movement of the storm northwest at 30. On the southern flank of this severe thunderstorm warning, let's try that one more time. Kind of from here to here, and then northwest at 30. I mean, this is just going to blast right through Pinellas County. St. Pete, 708. Town and Country again, 710. Gulfport, Pinellas Park, Safety Harbor, Largo, 726. Dunedin, 729. Clearwater, 730. And Palm Harbor at 733. Again, based on a forward speed north at around 30 miles an hour. Again, with my system, we can go street level. We can track it down to the second. So places like Kenneth City, 7:14 and 22 minutes. Treasure Island, 7:19, 28 minutes. Here's the Gulfport area. Now you're just outside of the severe thunderstorm warning, but you're still going to be impacted by some pretty rough weather. Seminole at 7:24. Indian Shores at 7:31 in about 39 minutes. 7:32 for Indian Rocks Beach. Again, up towards Clearwater at about 7:30-ish. 38 minutes from now. Our friends in Dunedin, 7:29. And again, Palm Harbor, 7:32, 7:33. Safety Harbor, 7:18, 7:19. Oldsmar, about 7:21 there. So again, based on this severe thunderstorm, forward speed northwest at 30. That's the kind of the southern flank of that particular storm. Raining and storming, Manatee, Sarasota counties, gusty, but the worst weather now is north of you guys. Should be an improving down there, but it's a pretty rough storm over Ruskin, over Gibsonton, Riverview areas. You can take a look at that right there over Mango. Let's check and see if we got any hail out of this. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm remote today. I'm traveling with my family, but we have absolutely the ability to go on live for you guys with our technology and cover these storms. Thunder in Lake Placid. Thank you, Noble Pills. Hey, Bev, 1 inch of rain in Sebring so far. Appreciate that. Now, Brandon's going to get hit pretty good. Hey, Charles, how are you? How dare I have a life? Yeah, I'm really glad that our western areas are getting rain. Obviously, that's necessary. That being said, it's coming along with some pretty strong storms as well. So I'm pulling up the potential hail size here, guys. That's what this product is. By the way, if you would you care to guess the one member of the McCranie family that's not currently at dinner right now? I told him, I said, surprise me. I tell you what, though, by the time I get off of this live stream, I am going to be starving. But it's all good. Happy to be with you guys. Trying to see here if we can get it to query the actual hail sizes. There we go. Okay. So potentially half-inch hail size west of Seffner towards Mango. This is 75. And this is up towards the Thonotassa area, I believe. Yep. If you guys know this area, this is where I-4 and I-75 interchange. Then you get back down to Brandon. So this is about maybe 1.5-inch size hail here. Another potential little hail core moving back over the bay. Maybe some pea-sized hail over the Palm River area, trying to get over to Davis Island, downtown Tampa, and Ybor City. Small hail would be associated with that. And again, just reported not that long ago, 51-mile-an-hour wind gusts in St. Pete. So maybe you guys are tuning in because of that. Let's take a look at precip rates. Solid storms, we've seen heavier lately, but I mean, these are still producing 3-inch-per-hour rainfall rates. So isolated flooding is not out of the question in association with this. But the one benefit of having a 30-mile-per-hour forward speed is you eliminate some of the severe weather, or excuse me, some of the flooding potential. All right, I'm going to go back out to the big perspective. We'll reset things. I'm going to grab a sip of my Gatorade. So you can see the storm. What a beautiful shot from our Conway cam. I just had a second to look at that. I'm even going to grab my chapstick. I hope you guys don't mind. So, Liam, to answer your question about the flooding, again, it's a possibility, but with a 30-mile-an-hour forward speed, it limits the amount of time even these heavy storms sit over one spot. Now, you guys will see from our Conway cam, we've had a couple of thunderstorms developing over Orlando, and that's what's coming down right now over the Conway area. So I've basically got some of our camera settings in motion right now. But we can look at a couple things too. So I can go up here to the radar. Only because my tablet has frozen, but that could just be my tablet. Only because my tablet has frozen, but that could just be it's just my tablet. Okay. Oh no, we did freeze. It's my tablet. Okay. Oh no, we did freeze. Just double checking. Everyone's coming back now. I think we're good. Okay. It's my tablet. Okay. All right. Hello, Brad. Hello, Rebecca. Hope you're doing well. Enjoy dinner. Hey, Joyce. South Lakeland getting hitting hard right now. Appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. Appreciate everyone tuning in, by the way. Again, on when there is impactful weather here in Central Florida, covering these storms for you guys live. This is a really nasty line of storms moving through the Tampa St. Pete area as we speak. They have had the history multiple times of producing winds over 60 miles an hour. And we just had, not that long ago, a 51 in Tampa at 6:46. 15 minutes ago, we did have a 51-mile-an-hour wind gust in Tampa. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for most of central and western Hillsborough and then into Pinellas counties here for the next 15 minutes. Storm does have some good forward speed. It is moving to the northwest at around 30 miles an hour. But all of these numbers that you guys see on the screen here, these are wind gusts. And now we have basically six areas that have some 40 to 50 mile an hour winds right now. So down at McDill, they actually just had a 43 mile an hour wind gust. And then up the road here in the Temple Terrace area, a 40. Dover Plant City, a 46. Western Polk County, a 46 mile an hour wind. So widespread, healthy thunderstorm activity with this. The other thing about this as well is we're going to get some isolated activity to develop over Orlando. Now, look, I don't expect that to be severe, but you can see from our live cameras, like our Conway cam, that there's a good thunderstorm developing on the central and south sides of Metro Orlando. I-75 is also beginning to get additional storms here. We'll see how these play out over the next hour. But places like Wildwood and Lake Pan and the Bushnell areas, all with some thunderstorm activity here. Another cell just to the north and west of Dade City. And then a pretty nasty storm right over Wesley Chapel. There could be the opportunity for some larger size hail in Wesley Chapel. Now, we're looking at this from the Melbourne radar. I'll switch over to the Ruskin radar here. It's kind of covered up right now, but that is still a very strong storm in Wesley Chapel. Look, if that storm continues to progress, they could issue another severe thunderstorm warning for portions of southern Pasco County. That cell over Wesley Chapel, South Wesley Chapel, could have some pretty large hail associated with it. Amy says rumbling just starting in Orlando. South Lakeland getting hit hard with high winds and rain. Again, these are going to be impactful storms, guys. These winds are going to be up 40, 50, 60 plus miles an hour. A ton of lightning strikes with that. Well, here you go. Now, downtown Tampa has a 54 mile an hour. Well, not downtown. This is the airport. 54. So Tampa International just reported a 54 mile an hour wind. 51 was the highest at St. Pete, still 47. So you have severe winds blowing through the heart of Tampa St. Pete as we speak. All right. As far east as Lakeland, and now storms developing north into portions of Pasco County as well. Not too concerned about tornadoes. That being said, we have to watch out for the rotation off of the bays. From the Ruskin radar, I'll bring that on. First of all, do you guys notice all of these pinks? These are significant winds throughout all of Hillsborough and Tampa Bays. Significant bright pinks like that on the velocity are extremely strong winds. So look at all of this, guys. Look at all of these 50 and 60 plus mile an hour winds. Look at that 64 right there. Wow, there's a 65. You have got intense winds over 60 miles an hour just blasting through the bays right now. Nasty storm. Hey, Plant City, just had our grill blown off the deck. Completely flipped over when the winds came through. Look, the gust front associated with these storms are going to be significant. 50, 60 mile an hour winds. Larry's just had the gusty winds in St. Pete. High winds and thunder in Zephyr Hills, but nothing yet. All right. Again, though, I mean, you've got tremendous winds being pushed out of this entire system. I don't see any rotation. These are all straight line winds. They're all going in one direction. But again, the Ruskin radar is right here. These are basically ground truth winds. So if you live in this box, you should anticipate 60 mile an hour winds. You should anticipate damaging winds moving through, maybe even up to 65. They are straight line, meaning they're going in one direction right now. But this is a rough cluster of storms. Again, a little bit broader view for you. And we're rotating through our equipment here, so you'll see a lot of different views from time to time. I want to keep you guys up to date with what's happening with the storms. I am going to do something real quick, though. This storm kind of deserves our attention right now. I'm just going to go to the radar. And again, I do have chat up as well, so I can see what you guys are saying. It is not slow moving. It's going at 30 right now. All right, so I'm going to take a second. We're going to get off of our camera network just to, again, I want everyone to see this storm in the big view. Yeah, that's a fine view right there. I want everyone to see this, that the winds associated with this right now are going to be 50 plus miles an hour for the most part, right? Just do something real quick here, guys. Okay. So now it should be in radar mode only. But you can see from Mango, East Lake, Temple Terrace, Seminole Heights, Tampa, South Tampa, McDill. 589 is the Veterans Expressway. So as you kind of split, whether you're going to take 60 over the bay or take the Howard Franklin, 54 mile an hour winds associated with that. Right there at TPA, Tampa International. Track of the worst part of this storm. Now, some of this is past. Did you get the idea? Coming up to Town and Country, Safety Harbor, Oldsmar, East Lake, Palm Harbor, Tapering Springs, and Holiday. The storm over Wesley Chapel is still going too, by the way. It's out by itself. Likely some hail associated with that storm over Wesley Chapel. Maybe some larger size hail too. Could be some damaging hail. If you live in Wesley Chapel, I hope the car is inside. Building storms east as far east as Lakeland, producing some gusty outflow winds right now. You know, several reports of over 40 mile an hour winds in eastern Hillsborough and western Polk counties. But this storm is just a trucking. I'm going to switch back over to the Melbourne radar, guys. That Ruskin radar is just so covered up right now. First gust of winds in West St. Pete dropped every mango on our tree. How about that? Liam, Brandon could get close to 60. Again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm remote today. I'm traveling with my family, but we have the ability to cover the weather here regardless. We've got a lot of technology here at CFLW. Thanks for taking a quick second, hitting the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Remember, this is a live-only channel, so I'm only on when there's impactful weather here in Central Florida. And today, we have flipped the script. Over the last month, basically, the storms have been from I-4 east. Well, now we're seeing that ridge of high pressure in the western Atlantic build farther to the west. We have had Saharan dust come into play, but on the west coast, there was this pool of cooler mid-level air, and that allowed these thunderstorms to develop today, and they got really strong over portions of Manatee and Sarasota counties and areas east, and they have continued to drive north and west here late this afternoon and into the evening hours. As you guys would expect, these storms have not really lost any of their punch. So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is currently in effect. So again, the one severe thunderstorm warning right over Tampa St. Pete will go for another 3 minutes until 7:15. The new one is going to take you now until 7:45. If you notice, the new polygon does go up to Wesley Chapel to cover that storm that has developed over that area and now much deeper into portions of Pasco County. So here we go. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45, moving northwest at 25. Again, good forward speed with these storms. That means they're pushing a lot of wind energy. These storms are just piping with wind, and so you get the gust front ahead of this, but there's a lot of rough wind associated with the individual heavy cells too. So up to 60-mile-an-hour winds and some 3/4-inch size hail. Clearwater, Temple Terrace, Safety Harbor, Newport Richey, West Park, Oldsmar, the Busch Gardens area, Palm Harbor, and South Tampa, all in the next severe thunderstorm warning for us here. This is going to be the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service office out of Ruskin. Severe thunderstorm warning for Pasco, Northern Pinellas, Northwestern Hillsborough. Severe thunderstorm located from the Wesley Chapel area back towards Egypt Lake and the Lido area, near McDill, moving northwest at 25. 60s and pennies. Let's hope they stay at pennies, by the way, because I think there's the opportunity that some of this hail could be nickel, maybe close to quarter. I hope we're not talking about quarter-sized hail. We keep it under nickel. That's right on that threshold of damaging hail size. Expected damage to roofs, siding, and trees. And again, the areas that I just mentioned there as well. All right. So let's track that for you. So from the new severe thunderstorm warning, tracking that northwest at 25, we've got Lake Magdalene, the Egypt Lake Lido area, Greater Carrollwood at 7:17, Greater Northdale at 7:20, Town and Country at 7:22, Citrus Park at 7:28, Dunedin 7:48, Palm Harbor 7:50, Tarpon Springs 7:54, and Bayonet Point at 8 o'clock. So likely we'll start to see the leading edge of the severe thunderstorm begin to exit our coastline right at the 8 o'clock hour. I know it's really clustered up here, guys. You see a lot of large special marine warnings and then our two severe thunderstorm warnings too. Now, the one severe thunderstorm warning is about ready to expire, but we've had McDill, St. Pete, 47-mile-an-hour wind, Tampa International, 54, Plant City, 46. Even out here, non-thunderstorm wind gusts in the Auburndale Winter Haven area of 40 miles an hour. Scattered storms are back over Orlando, non-severe, but some rain and some lightning here. MCO's had a 25-mile-an-hour wind. And then another cluster of strong storms in Sumter County, all the way from the villages south, Wildwood, Lake Pan, back over towards Bushnell. KR Florida says Wesley Chapel right now. Well, Wesley Chapel, you just need to hunker down and let the storm pass you by. There's not much you can do right now. The hail is, if there's hail within that storm, it's right over the Wesley Chapel area. Tremendous amount of lightning associated with that as well for a small area. When you guys see the top of my screen, by the way, it looks like actually with our new banner up top, I don't think you guys can actually see the lightning strikes. I'm going to try and pull this down a little bit more for you guys. But anyway, the Wesley Chapel storm has 275 lightning strikes in just the past 15 minutes. Hot storm there. And again, Carrollwood getting smacked. Seminole Heights. Again, the Tampa International had the 54-mile-an-hour wind. Checking exactly what time that was. It wasn't that long ago. It's 6:53, 23 minutes ago. No, generally speaking, guys, the farther east that you guys live, you're fine for today. There's a couple of storms on the north side of our coastal areas, but they're fine. This is the big perspective. Again, the West Coast sea breezes pinned along the coast. Really, this is brought to us by some instability at the mid levels of the atmosphere in association with the building high. The Saharan air that's in play has really limited the opportunity for rain along the East Coast. These storms developed earlier today near Port St. Lucie and have just been working their way west and northwest throughout the afternoon and evening hours, and only getting stronger as we've gone deeper into the day. They are peaking right now in Tampa, St. Pete. All right, guys, I'm going to bring our back on our cameras now so you guys can take a look. You'll see from our live camera network, we have a few showers and storms over the Orlando area as well. You guys can now see that lightning count. So now I've got it low enough on the screen for you guys to see that, which is good. And again, if you're just tuning in right now, the worst weather, Northwest Hillsborough, central northern sides of Pinellas, portions of southern Pasco County, and all of this is moving towards the coast. All right. So all of this will continue to move north and west, eventually getting to places like Palm Harbor and Tarpon Springs and Newport Richey and the Bayonet Point areas as well. All right, guys, I'm going to take one quick break. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Thanks for staying with me. Again, I'm remote today. I'm actually traveling with my family, but we have the technology here at CFLW that regardless of that, I can still cover these storms for you guys. So happy to be on the air with you. If you are tuning in, thanks for letting me know in the comments section below what's been happening in your area. I am monitoring the chat as well. Let me know if you've been impacted by these storms, what exactly you guys have seen. This is, again, a flip of the script for today. These storms are mainly impacting our western areas, Tampa, St. Pete area. This is some nasty activity right now. These storms are producing winds of well over 60 miles an hour in some areas. And these wind gusts have been very widespread as these storms have continued to track across this area. A new 53-mile-an-hour wind gust was just reported at the airport. That was at 7:10. So now 11 minutes ago, they had a 53 at the airport. I'm telling you right now, Tampa St. Pete is getting hammered in a lot of areas. These storms are still building north. This is an extremely intense storm over Wesley Chapel. As a matter of fact, I told you probably no more than 5 minutes ago, there was about 250 lightning strikes. That's now up to 420 lightning strikes, if you will, right around the Wesley Chapel area, and the opportunity for some hail here, maybe up to inch size hail. We're getting to inch size or quarter size hail. you are getting into some damaging hail threat potential with this. Look, if you live out ahead of this activity as it's moving north and west, a smart option would be to get your cars inside into a garage or a sheltered area just in case of the hail threat, right? I mean, look, the storms are moving fast. They're generally moving northwest at around 25 miles an hour. So the good news is that we'll have to watch out for the potential for the flood threat. But if these storms can hold forward speed this fast, they're not going to dump a lot of rain in any one area. It's going to be intense as it comes through, especially the wind. That's going to be the biggest threat. But hopefully we undercut some of the rain totals with a storm moving that fast. So if we can limit it to a couple of inches, that's good rain for this area that desperately needs it. But obviously today it's coming along with a very big opportunity for severe weather as well. So again, some of the areas under the new severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45 include Tampa, Clearwater, Temple Terrace, Safety Harbor, Newport Richey, West Park, Oldsmar, the Busch Gardens area, Palm Harbor, and in South Tampa as well. Staying Master says Town and Country keeps losing power. James says it is windy. Yeah, Kish, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of delays in Tampa right now, TPA, and probably even some diversions as well. You guys can always drop that down. Appreciate the moderators in the chat as well. Charles and Amy that I can see right now. I know Noble Pills has been in here as well. Appreciate the moderators. Again, if you have a question about what's happening right now, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. If I get it, a 72. Are you out of your, oh boy. 72 mile an hour wind in the Temple Terrace area right now. So there you go, guys. 72 out of the south. The winds with these storms are absolutely tremendous. Now we're up to a 58 in Tampa. All right, guys, these are extremely intense storms. Extremely intense. So we are getting 60 to 70 mile an hour winds across this entire line as we speak. These are damaging winds. If you are in the path of this, stay away from east and south facing windows. With the storms moving north and west, it means the east and the south side of your homes will be the ones that will take the direct force of the wind. But if we're talking about 70 mile an hour winds, guys, this can take down some significant trees. It can blow around some insecure, loose, lightweight objects, and they can become projectiles. I mean, look, 72, that's darn near hurricane force. 74 is hurricane force. We basically are getting some near hurricane force wind gusts out of this cluster of severe storms right now. Please take this very seriously. And again, even the winds outside of where the worst storm activity is are over 40 miles an hour. You can see that in Zephyr Hills. Not a lot of rain, but over 40 mile an hour wind. A lot of power outages being reported right now. Again, if you guys are impacted, please let us know in the comments section below what you guys are seeing. First of all, again, this is why this channel exists and while it works. Wisdom of the crowd, right? Live interaction. I need you guys telling me exactly what you're seeing. I can pass that along, and obviously everyone looking at the chat can see what's happening as well. If you are just tuning in, these are extremely significant storms moving through the metro Tampa-St. Pete area as we speak. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco counties until 7:45. We just had a 72 mile an hour wind report near the Temple Terrace area just north of Brandon, a 58 at Tampa International, and at least a 54 now down in St. Pete, downtown St. Pete. New special weather statement for the storms north on 75. For Bushnell, Floral City, so into eastern Citrus County, including Inverness, Those storms tracking off slowly to the east right now. Excuse me, to the west. Yeah, very slowly, west at 2. So these storms are basically just developing right now. Inverness, Wildwood, Ridge Manor, Webster, Coleman, places like that. I'll monitor that situation. Again, you live in Metro Orlando, non-severe storms, winds of around 25 or so. East Coast is quiet. You live St. Augustine to Palm Coast, back down to Melbourne and Palm Bay, you're fine for today. But it's a completely different scenario for Tampa St. Pete. Continuing to track these storms for you guys. So again, when I click this on, some of these areas have already been impacted by the worst weather. Others are getting it right now, like Town and Country, Citrus Park. So that's up 529, Citrus Park, Odessa area as well. You've got Dunedin at 748, Palm Harbor 750, Tarpon Springs 754, Bayonet Point at 8 o'clock. Again, there is good forward speed with these storms. They'll be in and out of areas relatively quickly. They're not going to be sitting for 3-4 hours at a time in these spots. Gonna look at a couple of other products real quick here, guys. Follow with me. It's going to be our successive rainfall outlook. We are under a marginal risk of severe storms. This did play out as expected. When I woke up this morning looking at the higher resolution models, the storms were to develop south of Brevard County and then work their way in a west to northwest fashion into our western areas and get stronger as the day went through. And that's exactly what happened for today. So you got to tip your hat to the models. They really had a good handle on the storms and their progression for today. Local storm reports are starting to get bad. We got some hail reports too. Here's half-inch size hail in Brandon at 640. Wesley Chapel, so there you go. Quarter hail, Wesley Chapel, 7:15, 13 minutes ago. Quarter hail, that's inch in size. That is damaging hail. So that's exactly why they issued the severe thunderstorm warning that far north, is because of that inch size hail. Again, Tampa International, a 58. Tampa International, a 58. And earlier today, we had 60 down there in the Mayaca City area. That was a 57, but earlier they even reported right at a 60. There's a 60 at the Sarasota Bradenton International. It was 60. So this has been a large, destructive swath of storms that came out of places like Highlands and DeSoto counties, worked their way into Manatee and Sarasota, and now through Hillsborough, Pinellas, and southern Pasco counties. Look, flooding of low-lying areas with this amount of rain, rainfall rates of 3 to 4 inches an hour, absolutely possible. Absolutely. Appreciate everyone jumping into the chat. Don saying it's super warm in Ocala. Yes, Sting, I'm not sure about your daughter's flight, especially with those kinds of winds. Light rain and now Dunedin, but wind is picking up. Already had a couple of branches come down. Someone's shirt got caught on your car antenna. Yeah, again, if you guys are experiencing any power outages in this area, please let me know in the comment section below. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. If you are tuning in right now, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for a large part of the Tampa St. Pete area. Let me be very clear. These storms are extremely destructive right now. We had a 72-mile-an-hour wind in the Temple Terrace, Brandon area. That's the 72 that you see on your screen right now. We've had nearly 60-mile-an-hour winds in St. Petersburg and at Tampa International. And MacDill just reported a 48-mile-an-hour wind as well. So you have a huge swath of winds that are 60 and even 70 miles an hour. Storms continue to build north. We've had quarter damaging size hail in Wesley Chapel, potentially getting some larger hail in Land Lakes as well. Let me show you guys here. I'm going to switch over to my telestrate mode. So look, that's a hail core. That's a hail core. That's a hail core. Any one of these right here, these are your hail cores. Okay. Let me do this. Stop the playback. I gotta listen to my own instructions here so you guys can see what I'm seeing. All right. Now you should be able to see my telestration. That's a hail core. That's a hail core. That's a hail core. So listen, on the northeast side of these severe storms, you've got the wind bag with maybe some half-inch size hail moving through Tampa St. Pete. But deeper into Pasco County, Land O'Lakes, Wesley Chapel, up to Dade City, now you're getting some hail cores to develop, and that could be damaging hail. Already quarters reported in Wesley Chapel. Okay. So we could see half-inch to inch size hail in Land O'Lakes, maybe half-inch to inch size hail in Dade City. That's when you see those purples and those blues. It's high reflectivity on my radar. When you guys also see that little triangle over Wesley Chapel, you guys see this little triangle right here? That is my system telling me that there's a hail core in association with that particular cell. Okay. Now, if I go back down here, from here on out, so now you have down here, oh, sorry about that. Now this is all going to be wind, and it's all straight line winds, and it's all coming towards the coast of northern Pinellas and Pasco counties. From Bayonet Point to Newport Richey, Holiday, Tarpon Springs, Palm Harbor, this is 50, 60 mile an hour winds, and it's all rushing out north and west. If you live along Highway 19 or towards the Gulf, you're going to feel that gust front come through. All right. That gust front's going to come through, probably pushing 40 mile an hour, maybe even 50 mile an hour winds. But then, unlike some of the activity that we've seen lately, where the strongest winds are in association with the actual gust front, that's not going to be the case now. Now you're going to have winds that are even stronger with the core storm. So you're going to get that push of wind in the gust front coming through, but now the winds even behind that are going to be even stronger. So these are big time impactful storms through a lot of Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas counties. Again, the bulletin from the National Weather Service office out of Ruskin. Severe thunderstorm warning for Pasco, northern Pinellas, northwestern Hillsborough County until 7:45, next 10 minutes. You can see that on your screen. Severe thunderstorms from Wesley Chapel back to McDill, moving northwest at 25, 60 mile an hour winds, and some penny-sized hail. When we look at the rainfall rates in association with this, so if you guys know the channel, when I bring on this product, where you see the black, that's your heaviest rain right now. It's all in association with those hail cores. So you get the tremendous lightning, you get the hail potential, and then you do get the ability here for some of these storms to produce rainfall rates that could be 4 and 5 inches an hour. Now, again, there's a lot of forward speed with these storms, my friends, so they're not going to be dumping, for the most part, 3 and 4 inches of rain in one spot, but the opportunity for some intense rainfall to go along with the hail and the gusty winds will accompany any area that you see, mainly in blue and black. It's not as if the storms headed to Palm Harbor and East Lake don't have some significant rain with them. There are pockets of 2+ inches of rain, even down towards Dunedin and Clearwater as well. By the way, St. Pete's Airport just hit a 43 mile an hour wind. But you can clearly see that some of the worst activity is building north and east with just a huge swath of wind through a lot of Hillsborough County. There's a lot going on right now. Tremendous amount going on. Speaking of hail, again, there's your hail core. And again, all the numbers that you see are going to be wind gusts. So 58 at Tampa International, a 72 in the Brandon Temple Terrace area. There's your hail associated with that cell that we were talking about over Wesley Chapel. All right, back out to the radar. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for the next 8 minutes. If you guys are being impacted by this storm, let me know in the comments section below. I'm going to jump back into the chat. Terry says Palm Harbor, big rain and winds. Arapika, tropical storm force indeed, and yes, indeed. Listen, absolutely the rain is needed, but boy, this is coming with some bad stuff. Pouring in Clearwater. It's moving north and west, guys. Getting hammered right now in Dunedin. You're welcome, Don. Yeah, appreciate you guys hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't. Again, this is a live-only channel. If you guys are new to the channel, I cover impactful weather in Central Florida, okay? We have a series of cameras across the area that we continue to build out. But what I do recommend is have all notifications on, because I'm only on when there's impactful storms. So you're not going to get a lot of notifications from the channel. If you see I've sent something, it means I'm on live, and there's a reason for you guys to tune in. So I do suggest for this channel to make sure you click that bell icon and have all notifications on. Again, you can see some of our cameras here in the Orlando metro area, where we've had a couple of storms today. But right now, the big story is what's happening in Hillsborough, northern Pinellas, and into Pasco counties. The lightning count is still extremely significant up here, guys. So up the Veterans Expressway, if you guys know where that area is, Lutz, which is east of there. So up the Veterans Expressway would be like Citrus Park, close to Odessa. And then east of there, Lutz and Land O'Lake, and then up 75 towards Wesley Chapel, eventually over towards San Antonio and Dade City. Again, we still have this special weather statement. These storms are looking pretty darn hell in Sumter County and in the eastern side of Citrus County near the Inverness area. So following 44 and 41, back out to the 75 corridor and the Turnpike. Not as bad for the villages in Wildwood. It's all south of there right now. This activity should slowly try and push to the west, by the way. Everything that you guys are seeing on your screen will have some kind of west movement to it, whether it's north and west or due west. There is the isolated but non-severe activity over Orlando. A few more scattered showers there, but nothing significant. The big game in town, my friends, today is our West Coast areas that have been desperate for the rain, but man, has it come with some extremely potent storms as well. Again, in the last hour, that's 3 reports in a really broad area of winds over 50 miles an hour. If we just look at this from St. Pete to Temple Terrace and Brandon, that's 25 miles, right? If I just were to draw a straight line on my map, so you've got a swath that's 25 miles wide that is likely producing winds of over 50 miles an hour. And it's a big population chunk of Tampa St. Pete that's getting hit. Started in Manatee and Sarasota, Highlands and DeSoto counties, and it's all working north and west. That's just a tremendous swath. And again, as well, guys, I'm remote today. Normally I'm in our studio when we're cranking on the studio, but I'm traveling with my family. But we have the technology here at CFLW to cover these storms even when I'm remote. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys can see our live camera network as well, our live radar system for you guys. You got a question about the forecast, feel free to drop in the comment section below. We have our moderators in the chat. Stang, how was it there? Just being 3 miles from Tampa International. All clear from Clearwater. Okay, thank you very much. Power flickered there. Lealman, St. Pete. Safety Harbor, rain and wind, but we really need the rain. That I'm with you guys. It's great to see the rain in this part of our area, but it has come along with a high-end severe weather threat for today. Unfortunately, these storms are rocking, and the winds that's being produced are likely damaging. So that's a problem. What I love is that, switch over to here. Minor delays at TIA. Okay. Hey, Smart Grandma. Very gusty winds in Spring Hill, but no rain yet near where Hernando and Pasco counties meet. Appreciate that. Well, thank you, Tacky Curmudgeon. Glad I found your page. Appreciate that. Yeah, temperatures are going to plummet behind these storms, guys. But, I mean, cooler, but good Lord. I mean, what we're going to have to deal with here. And again, these storms right now are over places like Trinity, Holiday, Newport Richey, the Port Richey area. They'll get up to Bayonet Point. They're going to get up to Hudson. We'll see if they can make it north of Hudson on 19 or not. It's going to be close. Now, remember, if I put this into motion for you guys, you'll see where they're going. This is just a half-hour loop, by the way. All right. So you can see that northwest push, beginning to see some of that nasty cell get off of the coast, but a lot of it is still inland. Again, you'll see these numbers crank up and down. But for the most part, 40, 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds. Look at the lightning up here in the eastern interior sides of Pasco County. If you look at that counter, the lightning count has actually only gone up. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts, Polk County of over 40 miles an hour. That storm, by the way, if you live in Citrus County, the cell is beginning to track right towards Inverness, south side of Inverness. Storm over 301 and 75 in Sumter County. That's a special weather statement for 40 mile an hour winds and some quarter-size hail. All right, let me reset my computer. It's a little trick I do to bring back on our times. So, as we would expect, we still have ongoing severe weather. So we're going to replace the severe thunderstorm warning with a new one, which just continues the path. Now, what I would expect for places like Brandon and downtown Tampa and St. Pete is improving conditions in a slow fashion to get better through the end of the 7 o'clock hour here and through the 8 o'clock hour. The heaviest wind is past your area. Still pockets of moderate to even heavy rain, but probably in the moderate to light category. Still going to be some lightning and some thunder around. You're not completely out of the clear here, even as far south as Brandon. But the worst weather is tracking up north and west. And so we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Obviously, we're going to have special marine warnings with all this activity as well. Just for a brief second, I'm going to drop the special marine warning. And we're going to get into this new severe thunderstorm warning. So new severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. Again, these storms have fast forward speed. That's one of the problems with the wind. A storm's moving at 37 miles an hour. It's going to produce 40 mile an hour winds, no problem. But then you get some of these heavier cells and these downburst winds. Look, the air at the mid levels of the atmosphere is pretty dry, and it's pushing that drier air down, and you get these downburst outflow winds with these storms, and that's what's kicking up these 60 and 70 mile an hour downbursts, guys. So now we're talking about Spring Hill, Newport Richey, Brooksville, Weeki Wachee, Royal Highlands, High Point, Trinity, Newport Richey East, Shady Hills, because they're shady, and Glen Lakes. That's the summary. This is going to be the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service offices. Let's bring this up. So western Pasco, western Hernando, north central Pinellas County till 8:15. Severe thunderstorm located from a line extending 7 miles north and west of St. Leo to Newport Richey, moving northeast at 35. 60 mile an hour winds. Again, these are damaging winds, guys. Roofs, siding, trees could all take damage from this. Less than 3/4 inch size hail, but that's still penny-sized hail. You get to 0.88, that's nickel. You get to a full inch, that's the quarter. That's what was reported in Wesley Chapel, the inch-sized hail or the quarter-sized hail. That can lead to damage in those areas. Lightning count, nearly 1,300 lightning strikes in this view in just the past 15 minutes. Hey, for 94th Ave North, 4th area, St. Pete, still no rain, like in a bubble. Yeah, unfortunately, you get far enough south in Pinellas County, you had some strong winds. You know, St. Pete downtown had a 54-mile-an-hour wind, but not a lot of rain. Power went out, but it went back on from Tacky Curmudgeon. ProFixes says had a microburst or something near Darby 52 like 20 minutes ago, at least 60 for a second or two. Yeah, guys, some strong downburst winds move through this area. I mean, the 72 on your screen is just a clear indication of that at 7:15. You had a 26-mile-an-hour wind, but it peaked at 72. And now, getting into the south side of Hernando County, you're beginning to pick up winds of over 50. Now we have a 53-mile-an-hour wind here south of Spring Hill. So these winds have not relaxed much, if anything. These are significant storms that continue to scrape northern Hillsborough and Pinellas. As far south as Tarpon Springs is our severe thunderstorm warning. East Lake right on the border. Odessa right on the border. But now up 19 through the rest of Pasco County. Holiday in the new Port Richey area. Bayonet Point, Hudson. Here comes this storm north, right? Let's track this together, guys. So affecting Hudson right now. Spring Hill, 801. Now, if it can hold together, it's going to get into southern Citrus County in the Homosassa Springs area at about 8:30. If it, A, holds together, and B, doesn't move offshore. I think there's opportunity that the storm might try and make a little bit more of a west turn here and get offshore. But if it scrapes the coast, it's heading right up Pasco, Hernando, and then eventually southern Citrus County. Now, the interesting thing, too, is, of course, you've got this cluster of storms, which just looks worse, not in a good way, through Sumter County and into East Citrus County near Inverness. A tremendous amount of lightning with this activity. In this view here, over 500 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. Maybe not as much wind up there as of yet, but an absolutely significant storm. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. I am remote today. Obviously, you guys know I'm generally in my studio with my green screen and all of that, but we have the technology. It doesn't matter. We've got you guys covered here at CFLW. Thanks for joining me on this now Friday evening. Please remember that CFLW is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. If you've had some storm damage from this activity, you can check them out. Bobby Lean and the team can help you through that insurance claim process. It's leanonmelaw.com if you guys would like more information. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, you can reach out to us as well. I believe from time to time, even in this display, we'll have a QR code on the top of your screen. You can always email us at mymediamundo@gmail.com if you would like to sponsor part of the channel or one of our camera network, which you guys are seeing scrolling through your screen as well, with additional cameras on the way. So we've got you covered here at CFLW. If nothing else, as always, I appreciate you guys taking a quick second, hitting the like button and subscribing. Both of those things help the audience out of the channel. Maybe you are just seeing this channel for the very first time pop up on your YouTube homepage. Well, you guys interacting with this channel allows the YouTube algorithm, if you will, to suggest this channel to more and more people who don't even know we exist. And again, I am a meteorologist with 25 years of television experience. I'm born and raised in Florida. I'm from Crystal River in Citrus County, so I know Central Florida's weather in and out, and I'm here to cover on this live channel whenever there's impactful weather here in Central Florida. And again, you can just see from the numbers on the screen, guys, look at the winds that came through the heart of Tampa St. Pete, up to that 72-mile-an-hour wind. Improving conditions, but still a lot left over for Hillsborough, Pinellas. Now we're getting into Pasco and Hernando counties. Just had a 53-mile-an-hour wind reported here, just south of Spring Hill. So the severe thunderstorm warning continues for 23 minutes. You guys can clearly see on your screen the impacts. The great thing about this system is I don't have to point out everything. You will see exactly the warning that's in place. The polygon will tell you exactly what areas it covers, how long it goes for, and the impacts. The 60-mile-an-hour winds, the less than 3/4-inch size hail with our severe thunderstorm warning. For the special weather statement, which covers a lot of Sumter and eastern sides of Citrus County, which has now gone severe. How about that? That storm now has 60-mile-an-hour winds and some inch-size hail. So I've told you guys this, a lot of times when this happens and the Weather Service changes this to a severe thunderstorm warning and they go inch-size hail, there is the likelihood that they have gotten some kind of report of inch-size hail for them to up this. So this is a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to encompass more of Hernando, a fair amount of Sumter and Citrus counties. This one's going to go till 8:15 as well. So we have two now severe thunderstorm warnings until 8:15. Again, I told you we're going to get some west motion with this, and now we have west at 8. This cluster in Sumter moving into Citrus and Hernando counties should start to pick up some forward speed as well. So Sugar Mill Woods, Brooksville, Inverness, Lake Pan, Ridge Manor, Bushnell, Center Hill, Webster, Coleman, Lake Lindsay, all in this new severe thunderstorm warning. So we filled in the gap, if you will. And this is a significant cluster of storms that extends all the way from the Bushnell area all the way back down into northern Pinellas County. Within this cluster, if you guys live here, first of all, expect winds of 60 miles an hour, maybe even higher. We had a downburst wind in the Brandon area of about 72, all right? Expect potentially up to quarter-sized hail. So if you do live in areas that have not been impacted yet, in these areas that I just mentioned, getting the cars in the garages under some kind of shelter, not a bad idea. Keep yourself away from east and south-facing windows. The storms are moving from the south and east to the west and northwest. So the southern and the eastern part of your property is what's going to be impacted first with the strongest push of wind. So if there's any lightweight unsecured objects or anything that's blowing around and potentially extremely strong winds, those are the windows that would take the brunt of that. So I would just avoid the east and the south side of your homes. I have not seen any strong rotation out of this activity. I'll always monitor that situation. But these have been winds going in one direction. We call those straight line winds. Might be able to start to pick up these storms now from the Tampa radar as the storms are moving away. We'll see here. Try and switch over to the Tampa radar real quick. There we go. All right. Now that the storms have cleared Ruskin, we'll have a pretty good view of these storms from the Tampa radar. I have access to all of the different NextRad sites, both individually and as a composite. So I've got you covered in that way as well. Again, where you see these fuchsias, these pinks, and then into the neon blues, that's extremely high reflectivity, indicative of either intense rainfall and or some hail in association with that activity. Hey, Sharon, how you doing? Raining now in Spring Hill, County Line and Suncoast. Appreciate that. And if you notice that Sharon's name is in green, she's a member of the channel. We do have memberships open. If you'd like to support the channel in that way, you can click that join button. You get access to exclusive badges and emojis during these live streams, but you also get access to exclusive member short videos. In between these live streams, I will put together some short videos for our members, giving you my behind the scenes thoughts about what I think might be happening, you know, when storms might next arrive, when I next might be on. So if you want to support the channel in that way, come join a growing membership here at CFLW. We call ourselves the Storm Squad. And just like Sharon, if you want to be a part of that Storm Squad, you can hit the join button right now. Appreciate all of our members and our moderators as well. Crash says North Land Lakes by SR52. We got some of this action. Nope, colors on the radar aren't overdone. I can promise you that. This is straight from the NextRad sites. No massaging of the color tables. Sandy can hear the thundering there all the way from South Marion Oaks in Marion County. Kevin says we just missed a thunderstorm there near the Hillsborough-Polk County line. Hey, Stella. Thanks for joining us in Tampa. All right. I'm getting back into the chat as much as I can, guys. First of all, I really appreciate you guys letting me know what's happening in your area. That helps me out, but also helps out everyone who's watching the channel. Again, wisdom of the crowd. Scott says, Raincrest near Wesley Chapel missed everything, even though radar showed res for 20 minutes. Radar is overdone. Well, it could be a little bit of that, or it could be that some of that's trapped a little bit below the surface as well. I mean, not reaching the actual surface. But we did have, I mean, it can't be too overdone when you're looking at a local storm report in Wesley Chapel of inch-size hail. Oh, there it was right there. So Wesley Chapel had inch-size hail at 7:15. So the AWAS at KDVF, the Tampa Executive Airport, has 72 mile an hour wind, 2 miles northwest of Mango. So you've got Brandon, and then you've got like Seffner, Dover, Mango, Temple Terrace, Thonotassa areas there. So right there, 72 mile an hour wind at the Mango Airport, or excuse me, at northwest of Mango. And then Raymond James had a 55. Steinbrenner Field had a 58. Tampa also had a 58. We had half-inch size hail reported in Brandon. So these are all your storm reports right now, guys. And we'll see if we tack on any more. Those would be basically official verified reports. Okay. If you're just tuning in, appreciate you doing so. An extremely impactful line of storms move through Tampa, now tracking north and west, still impacting portions of the northern side of Pinellas County, central and the western sides of Pasco County, and moving deeper into Hernando County with additional severe storms in Sumter in the eastern side of Citrus County. Both of these red polygons, severe thunderstorm warnings, will expire in 15 minutes, but they could also be extended as well. On the southern flank of this severe thunderstorm warning, we could have some fairly large hail right now. Webster, Ridge Manor, Spring Hill beginning to see some activity. Again, a 53 mile an hour wind report there at 7:50, so just 10 minutes ago. So regardless of any potential hail and how much rain you guys get, the biggest widespread impact is going to be damaging winds. Still 50 to 60 miles an hour with these storms. That's what the severe thunderstorm warning is for. But there could also be up to quarter-sized hail within some of this activity. Let's track some of this for you guys. Again, some of this that you'll see has already moved through Spring Hill right now, as we would expect, and then into Homosassa Springs at 8:30, if it stays onshore. Some of this is beginning to work offshore. You can see that off of Tarpon Springs and Holiday and Newport Richey. The live lightning count here at CFLW. Again, when you see that lightning count, it's within the view I'm showing you how much lightning has struck in the last 15 minutes. So you have nearly 400 lightning strikes in this view in the last 15 minutes. KR Florida says Wesley Chapel, State Road 54 and I-75 can confirm hail, heavy rain, and lightning earlier seems to be easing up a bit. You know, obviously, sometimes in a very short, distance, we're going to have a lot of different impacts. You know, sometimes someone gets a 67-mile-an-hour wind and 2 miles away, they got a 30. It can happen. But that's why we have all of you guys to point out exactly what you guys are seeing. Sharon, Polk County is actually drying out right now. All right. If you live east of where we're talking about right now, you're going to be fine for the rest of the evening. All right. All of this activity has done a 360, or I guess a 180, from what we've been talking about on the channel the last several weeks. Instead of these storms developing over I-4 and then running east to I-95, these storms developed south of Brevard and Indian River counties today, down towards Port St. Lucie, and then made a run north and west. But what happened was, right along our west coast, we had this pool of cooler air at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, which produced a lot more instability and lift in the atmosphere and produced that drier air with the downburst winds as well. It all came together to bring us an extremely intense line of storms that developed in the mid-afternoon hours back down into Highlands County, and then has just worked its way north and west ever since. So we tracked the storms through Hillsborough and Pinellas. There's still some moderate rain and lightning in Hillsborough and Pinellas, but now the worst weather is up in Pasco and Hernando and Sumter and Citrus counties. Inverness just had a 40-mile-an-hour wind. So out of the east at 38. So again, out of the east, because the storms are moving east to west. Still another 52 at 7:53. So 3 minutes after the 53, they had a 52-mile-an-hour wind gust south side of Hernando counties. Hey, Chessie, how you doing? Chessie says, big time wind from the storm moving in and some heavy rain. Yep, Chessie, I think you're going to finally get hit there in Spring Hill pretty good. Looking at the rainfall totals out of this. So this is going to be your 6-hour rainfall totals. Now, again, nothing crazy high. Look, we're going to get locally 2 to 3 inches in a hurry, but the storms are moving so fast, we're not going to be stuck with 3 and 4 hours of rain. So looking at some of the totals, radar estimated, it's not going to surprise me if about 3 is the highest. And there's that Wesley Chapel storm, right? Yeah, there's your 3-inch potential over Wesley Chapel. But again, the storms have moved so quickly that it's not as if we're getting like just 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, crazy widespread. This storm has not been moving much over 75. So it has dropped a quick 2, probably 3 inches of rain in some spots. Remember, even though this product is updating nearly in real time, it does take a few scans to bring on the newest data. So it's not going to shock me if some areas of Sumter County along 75 have already had 3 inches of rain. That's one spot where the storms weren't moving quickly and picked up some rain fast. Hail sizes. It is the southern extent of this severe thunderstorm warning where we could still have some hail here, hopefully waning a bit in size. Remember, guys, it's now 8:05. We're coming up on sunset. The thought would be hopefully through the 8 o'clock hour, even though it might be a slow go, we should try and lose a little bit of this intensity when we lose the heat of the day. That would be especially the amount of heavier pockets of rain. The wind might take even longer to fully wind down. You guys, a lot of you guys are chiming in about the heat. Horrible. That Saharan air is not going to do us any good, by the way. There's a big old plume coming in for the weekend as well. It should suppress thunderstorm activity for the most part in a lot of areas, but we could still catch some rowdy activity here. I'm just going to check one thing real quick. You're just going to see for a brief time, the map will go blank. I'm just checking on something real quick. And while that's happening, we're running through our live network of cameras. The Winter Garden camera, by the way, that you guys see is showing you the severe storm out in Sumter County right now. So that's the billowing cloud tops there. Sure says a 10-degree temperature drop. You can send pictures to the one that's the email address that's scrolling at the bottom of your screen, mymediamundo@gmail.com. We do have a different email address for this channel, which is cflwlive@gmail.com. If you'd like to check both of those. I'm trying to load up my advisories here. It's going to take just a second. There we go. Okay. This just keeps me apprised of if we have any flood statements, and I don't see any. So this is just a county by county look. This is all just severe thunderstorm warning still. Again, we did fall under a marginal risk of severe storms in the darker green, which is exactly where these storms develop. Got to give kudos to the Storm Prediction Center. They popped this out earlier this morning, which kind of led me to believe that I might be on today, even though I'm traveling with my family. So myself and the team here at CFLW worked really hard, and I give a lot of credit to the team helping me build this out so that we could go live today and cover these storms for you guys, because I was concerned about exactly what has befallen Tampa St. Pete for today. Now, tomorrow, we could see some stronger storms in our far northern areas with a marginal risk as far south as southern Flagler County, maybe into northern Volusia. I'll be monitoring that. I'm not as concerned about storms tomorrow in our area because the Saharan air layer is going to be even more of a factor, but it's not out of the question. Not out of the question for additional storms again tomorrow, but likely not as numerous today as they are today. And I'm getting dark, aren't I? I kind of just realized that. Let me see if I can put a little bit of light on myself real quick. You see what happens, guys? Let's see, is that any better? It's a little bit better. What happens is I get locked in, and then things like that, like not even realizing that I'm just looking at our screens, that there's not a ton of ambient light on me. It's a little bit better now, right? Should be. Unfortunately, for those talking about the heat, the Saharan air layer is going to really trap in a lot of steamy conditions. So that ridge is actually building in even worse, unfortunately. All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, we do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now until 8:15. So for the next 5 minutes. You can see in the southern sides of Hernando County, we've had a 52-mile-an-hour wind gust. Up in Citrus County in Inverness, we've had a 38-mile-an-hour wind gust. We still have over 800 lightning strikes in this view in just the last 15 minutes. These storms have had the history of producing over 70-mile-an-hour winds in the Mango area of Hillsborough County, so near Brandon and near Seffner and near Temple Terrace. The southern severe thunderstorm warning, some of this activity is finally beginning to move far enough west where it's beginning to work its way offshore. But this is still a rowdy storm over the Highway 19 area from Tarpon Springs up to Holiday, Newport Richey, and Bayonet Point in the Hudson area. Then we kind of combine this and that storm on the southern flank of our northern severe thunderstorm warning. It's progressing off towards the west, and now we're starting to see the Brooksville, Spring Hill area really beginning to get impacted by this storm. All right. Lightning count is significant. Blinding rain here. Cells still left over 75 in southern sides of Sumter County. And then this cell up in the Inverness area looks like it's losing a bit of its punch, but it did produce some 40-mile-an-hour winds from Floral City up to Inverness as well. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts have been in excess of 40 miles an hour in western Polk County, but hopefully the wind through Manatee, Sarasota, Polk, Hillsborough, and Pinellas counties is beginning to subside a bit. Brian says much needed rain there in Clearwater. Thank you, Terry, for letting me know. We live in the village of Lake Tarpon. All is well. The storm is over. Yes, thankfully, these storms, guys, have some good forward speed. The southern storm is moving north at 37. Now, the northern storm is moving west at 8, but it should be picking up some forward speed as we speak. So that one's going to try and push west through portions of Hernando and Citrus counties. My hope is now that we've basically hit sunset and we start to lose some of the heat of the day, that this storm starts to break apart a bit, but could still take some time, especially when it comes to the wind. It's likely still pushing out some very significant winds with these storms in a pretty broad area. And if you look here, you guys see these pinks near Hudson. You know, these are still over 50-mile-an-hour winds. Port Richey, Bayonet Point, Hudson. This is why we have our severe thunderstorm warning. These are extremely significant winds. There are marine warnings in effect, but hopefully all of our non-commercial fishermen and anyone who's a pleasure boater is back on shore right now, back into safe harbor at this late hour. But just extremely significant winds here. Spring Hill, some gusty winds, nothing crazy. We're pretty far from the radar site here, but any of this, some good winds up here in Lake Pan. But this is all just very congested and lighter. So again, I'm not concerned about any rotation. These are all straight line winds, meaning storms are pushing winds in one direction. But you get those downburst winds as well. It's drier levels at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, drier air at the mid-levels of the atmosphere that rush to the surface as thunderstorms are collapsing, and it can produce this big outflow, this big push of wind, and that wind field can crank up in a second. Scott didn't get the rain he was hoping for. Again, the rainfall totals associated with this isn't going to be crazy high because of the fast forward speed. But this was a severe threat today, guys, with the hail size up to quarter in Wesley Chapel and many reports of winds of over 50, 60, and even 70 miles an hour. So fast-moving storms, not a ton of rain in one spot for the most part, but this was a severe weather threat for today. Okay. So now these two severe thunderstorm warnings have expired. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're completely done with either a special weather statement to return or a severe thunderstorm warning as well. I do have the special weather statements on. So your special marine warning is exactly where you would expect as those storms are moving offshore. Now, for Citrus and Hernando counties, you can clearly see the live lightning counter, 650 lightning strikes. It's a nasty storm over Spring Hill. Get some rain to Point Siena. Boy, I wish I could just, I wish I had a joystick and you guys need the rain, I just drive the storm wherever you need. I wish that was the case. Brian Tucker says 1.5 inches in Clearwater. That's not horrible. That's probably above average, to be quite honest, with as fast as these storms were moving. All right. So I want to go to this mode here real quick and talk about what these storms are going to end up doing from here. So let me zoom in just a little bit closer. And I'm going to go John Madden on you guys. We're going to break out the telestrator. So we've got this box of storms here. Okay. These should mainly be pushing due west. I would expect them to clip southern Citrus County, but they're mainly going to be moving through northern sides of Hernando County. Okay. And it is issued a special weather statement as well. But the cell that was up here over Inverness, that one's fizzled out. There could be some 40-mile-an-hour winds up there, but that one's basically fizzled out. Okay. Now, this cluster here is just going to continue to move offshore. There's not a lot behind it. This is not as significant as it is here. So improving conditions for Pasco County. Let's get the rest of the worst weather off of the shoreline, and we'll be fine after that. It's mainly up into Hernando and Sumter counties right now. So kind of like spot 1, spot 2, and 3. Now, why did that go from 1 to 3? I gotta try that again. This is some new technology. Why is that 2? Now I'm vastly confused. Oh, I guess I could click the button that goes through. Interesting. So will this be 14 now? It is. I love it. Okay. That should be 1. I could actually change the number behind the scenes before I put them on. But there's your 2 clusters of storms that are still potentially worthy of keeping a closer eye on. Okay. We'll go back to our playlist. And again, Lean Law Firm is one of the sponsors of CFLW. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, you can reach out to us as well. If nothing else, I really do appreciate you guys taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. Again, a live-only channel. I'm only on when there's impactful weather here in Central Florida. If you were impacted by these storms, please let me know in the comments section below. Just going back over our local storm reports. Again, the 2 most significant hail size is going to be the Wesley Chapel storm at 7:15, quarter-inch size hail. And the wind is going to be the 72-mile-an-hour wind gusts at the Tampa Executive Airport. That's just 2 miles northwest of Mango. They are basically north-central sides of Hillsborough County. But downtown Tampa, including Raymond James, had a 58-mile-an-hour wind there. Okay, so you notice that they did replace the severe thunderstorm warning with a special weather statement. Now, this storm is less intense, which is great news. But still, even at this hour, we had a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust at 8:12. So just 7 minutes ago. So that's why we have the 50-mile-an-hour winds here. Special weather statement is in effect until 9 o'clock for Spring Hill, Brooksville, Inverness, Wildwood, Bushnell, Homosassa Springs, Beverly Hills, Weeki Wachee, Inverness, Black Diamond, fantastic golfing community there, Black Diamond, Brooksville, the Crystal River Airport, again, that's my hometown, and a lot of the other areas of Inverness and Weeki Wachee Gardens. So if you know this area, it's all moving from Hernando and into Citrus counties. Again, the lightning ball there, still over Spring Hill, over 700 lightning strikes in just the past 15 minutes. Only 0.12. Do something here real quick, guys. Okay. Here's a live look to our winter garden camera. All right, you can see the winter garden camera showing you the storm that is the special weather statement storm through portions of Sumter and Hernando counties, moving into the eastern side of Citrus County. So that's that particular storm that you see right there. You can see the overshooting cloud tops. Should be what is likely to be an absolutely glorious, and I'm sorry about that. I forgot to take off the playlist that we had running. So let me get you back to Winter Garden. Should be an absolutely glorious sunset in these areas too, guys. Absolutely fantastic. Not expecting any rain in Eustis today. Jesse, I wish you got more rain than that, my friend. Really was hoping you would have. Okay. Jesse, you have to be having at least a tremendous amount of lightning, right? I mean, there's got to be some pretty nasty storms as far as the lightning count goes over Spring Hill. Again, you got a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. I'm always keeping an eye on things, guys. If I don't, for some reason, get to your question, we have our moderators in the chat. They will be happy to answer the question. They're listening very intently, and if they can glean something that I've discussed, they're drop it in the chat to answer that for you guys. Try and do as much as I can to go back through this chat and answer the question for you as well. Again, appreciate our subscribers and our moderators. Yeah, your temperature is likely to drop by 10 to 15 degrees once these storms come through. I'll bring on the temperatures right now as an example. So how about that? The last report at PA is 7:15, though. They haven't reported in a while. But there's 73 degrees, 75, 72. You know, Sanford is still in at 86. Leesburg is in at 90. When was that report? 7:53. So their 8 o'clock report is still 91 in Leesburg. But there's your nearly 20-degree difference between the 73s there and the 91 where it has not rained today up in Lake County. And again, right now, that storm special weather statement is moving through northern Hernando and portions of Citrus County. Not expecting a lot of rain along the East Coast as well. Not for tomorrow either, guys. We could have a few more storms in Central Florida tomorrow. There's a slightly better chance for some storms in our far northern areas tomorrow. This is the risk of severe storms today. You'll see in the darker green once we're in this playlist here, but once this pops back up, give me a second here. And just bring on the radar back full real quick for you here. So the areas in green under the risk for severe storms for today in the darker green. And then for tomorrow, it's up towards I-10 basically. Now, could there be a few storms that get rowdy and slip into Marion or Flagler counties? Not out of the question. Typically, we would just be in the kind of garden variety tomorrow. But remember, there's another big plume of Saharan air coming in, and that is likely to undercut most of the activity. I'll monitor the situation, but for the most part, East Coast is likely to remain dry tomorrow. Potentially a few isolated storms, I-4 to I-75, and then a little bit better chance up the road to our north, but not a ton. Thank you, Dan. Slowing down in Hudson. That's good to hear. Chassahowiska. That's right. Yeah, so this storm is beginning to sneak into southern Citrus County. Again, up the Veterans, connecting in with 98. That would get you back into Spring Hill and Brooksville. So again, hopefully some decent rain over Spring Hill and Brooksville. Obviously, the lightning is still significant here. And then drifting over 19. This cell is trying to hold together just south of 44 over Lecanto. And it will likely hit Homosassa and Homosassa Springs. I would suspect right now Crystal River might get brushed on the south side, but I'm not expecting the worst of the weather to get as far north as Crystal River. And outside of that, my friends, again, I don't expect there to be a lot of redevelopment of most of this activity. You have to apologize. I was outside most of the day. My lips are somewhat dry and chapped. Again, if you're just tuning in and you're new, or even if you're a regular watcher of the channel, I'm remote today, traveling with my family. But obviously important enough to come on and talk about these storms with you guys. So appreciate you bearing with that. But again, we have the technology here at CFLW to be able to bring this to you, regardless of whether I'm in the studio or not. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the presentation and enjoying all the information. And if you are doing so, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me and subscribing to the channel if you haven't as of yet. Again, being a live only channel, I do recommend having the notifications on because you'll get not a lot of notifications from the channel, right? If you get one, it means I'm on live, and there's probably a reason for you guys to check in, at least see what's happening with the weather that day. Today, we flipped it, not the East Coast today, not even I-4 corridor for the most part until you get back into Hillsborough County. It was beginning with Manatee and Sarasota counties and then into Hillsborough and Pinellas. We had a 72-mile-an-hour wind in Mango earlier. All right, guys, I'm going to take one quick break here, and I'll be back, and we're going to track the rest of this storm until it gets off the coast. I'll be right back. Okay. Chris asks, how's it looking in Lakeland? Looking just fine in Lakeland. Again, not expecting anything else outside of what's going on. Any rain tomorrow for Palm Bay, Melbourne? Again, yeah, I think it's going to be relatively quiet. The bigger story tomorrow is, again, the heat for the most part with the Saharan air layer in play. So please be cautious in the outdoors in the afternoon. And then a limited opportunity for a few storms to develop tomorrow. This was just one of those things where the mid-levels of the atmosphere today had some juice. And once these storms got going south of Tampa St. Pete and they rolled in, there was ample instability to keep these storms going and produce the winds that they produced. I'm not expecting that for the most part tomorrow, but our northern areas and maybe an isolated fashion for the rest of Central Florida. But because of our ridge of high pressure out east and because of the Saharan air, I'm not expecting the storms to be very widespread. Obviously, I'll be monitoring the situation, and just like today, if it's necessary to come on and track them for you guys, I will. But generally speaking, most of our area should enjoy many dry hours for your Saturday. Yeah, Dunedin's still an 85. Yeah, the storm is trying to sneak into the southern sides of Citrus County for sure. It's a good storm, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and you can see that again. Our winter garden camera is going to show you the special weather statement storm. That's what you're seeing right now. It's really a beautiful shot of it for the most part. And that storm is slowly moving off to the west. So our winter garden camera is looking west towards the storm here in Hernando and Citrus counties. I'm not really sure why the special weather statement is up to the villages. That one I'm not too sure about. The movement of this should just continue to be west. And they have it north and west, which is fine, at 33. But at least there is some forward speed. At least this thing is picking up and getting some forward speed and getting out of some areas. Again, never too concerned about the amount of rain today because of the fast forward speed of the storm. So a couple of spots picked up a quick 2 to 3 inches, but there hasn't been a lot of widespread flooding. I haven't seen any flood advisories today. Certainly have not seen any flash flood warnings in the area. This was about the damaging winds for the most part and the larger hail. I mean, if anyone was impacted by the hail in Wesley Chapel or other areas that maybe had 3/4 inch to 1 inch size hail, let me know. Again, we had reports out of Wesley Chapel of inch size hail. So quarter size, that's damaging hail. That can impact roofs, can impact cars, can cause some problems, in those spots. And even 3/4 inch to nickel size can do damage as well. That was the big issue with these storms, the hail and the wind. You're welcome, smart grandma. Thank you, Charles, and I hope you're well, my friend. Yeah, James, you should be good in Pinellas. I'm just going back through the chat as I can. You should be fine in Pinellas now. Trucky Truck, this is not heading to Lake County. No, this is all going to be moving off the coast. If I put this into motion for you guys, you're going to see that there's a west to northwest push, and there's nothing that's going to be developing behind it. We should be quiet the rest of the day. East Coast, enjoy a beautiful Friday evening. West Coast, again, our winter garden camera should have a nice sunset here on the horizon. I mean, that storm basically envelops most of our winter garden camera. A little bit of extra cloud coverage over Sand Lake right now, too. Conway looks beautiful. But you can clearly see as I throw our radar into motion here, it's all pushing west-northwest off the coast. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm just going to reset my radar real fast. Little trick of the trade there to do that. So again, this special weather statement does go for the next 25 minutes. It does go to the top of the hour. Tracking the winds out of this, 40 down in the southern side of Hernando, so south of Spring Hill, Brooksville, and 20 in Inverness. The strongest winds are likely right here along 19, Homosassa Springs towards Weeki Wachee. Fair amount of lightning there too. 450 lightning strikes still. So, I mean, this is a noisy storm, but the winds are beginning to diminish here. And you notice that quickly the cell to the south that was coastal sides of Pasco County has quickly dissipated. So should be improving fairly quickly. Tarpon Springs, Newport Richey, Hudson, Bayonet Point, looking already better in the Land O'Lakes area. Certainly much better in Dade City right now. So we're beginning to narrow our window here to the areas certainly just within that special weather state. But even the northeast areas, I'm not concerned about the villages right now or Wildwood. I don't see anything trying to develop back north and east. So it's really just from 41 west now. If you guys are familiar with this area, Inverness, Floral City, back down into Brooksville, 41 west, 41 to 19. control burns Sand Lake and Highway 27 in Davenport. Okay, I did not know. Storm over Brookridge and High Point right now. Indeed. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, man? Nasty and Homosassa. Appreciate the report, Ryan. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for letting me know. So, yeah, on the northern extent of this, that special weather statement storm has reached Homosassa Springs. Again, I don't see it going north of 44. So likely Crystal River, Homosassa Springs and Crystal River are only 7 miles apart, but likely Crystal River is going to see much less intense thunderstorm than Homosassa Springs is right now. And again, Sugar Mill Woods out here. And as you guys can see, I have street level mapping. So if there's intense storms to track street level, including tornadic activity, we can do that here on the channel. It also gives you an idea of where the population centers are. But these days, there's a lot of population everywhere. The veterans, as it connects into 98, used to be new. It's not new anymore to bring the veterans up that far north, but there you go. Shows heavy lighting south of 50. Thank you very much. Hey guys, I like everything else. I think this is what we just have to track and let it get offshore. Now, again, it has some pretty good forward speed, so it's not going to be too long before this gets off into the Gulf and we're good to go. Yeah. Well, Ryan, if you don't know, I'm from Crystal River, so I had a lot of friends who lived in Sugar Mill Woods, so I went there many a times. Again, this special weather statement is for portions of, well, I mean, it really even gets to the villages, but basically it's Citrus and Hernando counties, guys. So Spring Hill, Brooksville, Inverness, Wildwood, Bushnell, Homosassa Springs, Beverly Hills, Weeki Wachee, the Inverness Airport, Black Diamond, North Brooksville, Timber Pines, Heelandale, the Crystal River Airport, Homosassa, Weeki Wachee Gardens, Inverness, Highlands, South and North, and Pine Islands. Some of the areas likely impacted by this, but we're beginning to shave off some of those northeast areas. I mean, Inverness is in the clear now as well. Hernando is basically in the clear too. And the Weather Service can, if they want to, they can change this polygon to cut off areas if they think the storm has moved away. They don't necessarily do that, but they could if they want to shave off some areas as the storm tracks from east to west. Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Well, as it is with the case here, when I go live like this, sometimes we just end up with the one storm to follow and see how it plays out. And this is where we are right now. Again, behind this for the rest of the evening, I don't anticipate any additional activity. Once this storm moves off the Hernando and Citrus County coast, that's going to do it for us for tonight. So that's a good thing, that this should be the last either strong or severe storm that we've had in our area. I do want to go back and check our storm reports because we always can get new ones in. And here's a new one here. So 53 at the Brooksville ASOS site here, which is that southern one, is the Brooksville Tampa Bay Regional Airport, I believe. So far southern Hernando County had the 53 at 7:53. That's the last severe report that we had. There's a couple over here in Pinellas County too. Let's check these out. So the Needham Causeway had a 51 at 7:20. Clearwater Beach Pier 60 had a 43. Again, the St. Pete Clearwater International Airport had a 49. Raymond James Stadium, which is, of course, the Bucs Stadium, 55. 58 at Steinbrenner Field, which is the Yankees Stadium. I'm assuming, probably not the stadium. Well, maybe, right? Yeah. I mean, they're really right next to each other. Yeah, that's definitely Steinbrenner Field. Okay. So that's like two reports verifying each other. 155, 158, you know it's true. And then TPA had a 58 as well. McDill had a 49. Downtown St. Pete had a 54. I mean, look, St. Pete, for the most part, didn't have a ton of rain, but they had tremendous wind being pushed out from that whole line. And again, the largest hail report today is going to be Wesley Chapel, quarter-size hail. That's 1 inch in size. JWE Square Official says, power went out at my house in Hernando. Transformer blew. And that's never any good. Yep, guys. Wind causing issues with power, knocking down tree limbs and branches. Absolutely an issue with the kind of wind that we saw today with these storms. In some areas, it doesn't take much, right? Sometimes oak tree canopies and whatnot are interlaced within some of our, power lines, and 40, 50, and even higher than what we've had can absolutely cause problems there. So the Crystal River Airport reported a 31 mile an hour wind, but again, not too significant. That storm might hit Crystal River. It's going to be real close. I think the worst of it is still over Homosassa, but the northern extent of it could sneak into Crystal River. Still a good amount of lightning, 375 lightning strikes. It's coming down, but it's taking its time. And the last gasp of this storm is now over Spring Hill and Brooksville. But that's moving west, moving away. And so the conditions should begin to improve in Spring Hill and Brooksville shortly. Sometimes you hit transformer blows, that's going to do it. You're going to be toast for a while, unfortunately. But I appreciate you letting me know. Thank you for the update, and I hope power is restored in your area as quickly as possible. Again, part of this storm, which will likely not be severe, could sneak its way into Crystal River. There's more lightning south, but there's a little ball of lightning here too. You see a little just east of 19. So it's going to be a noisy storm into Crystal River as we hit to 9 o'clock. Now we're at dark for the most part as well. Again, our live camera network spinning on the screen for you guys to see. We have multiple cameras across Central Florida, continuing to add to those to give you guys the live coverage, to kind of, give you that flavor. So not only can I show you these storms on radar, but you can see these storms in real time from our camera network as well. And so hopefully all of that is really helping to tell the details of the storms here in Central Florida. And again, we only cover Central Florida and live only channels. So when there's impactful weather, be it our summer storms like this or hurricanes or tropical systems, I'll be on covering them for you guys. So appreciate you hitting that like button and subscribing to CFLW as well. Still getting some lightning in the Brookridge area. So JWE squared is in Spring Hill and lost power. So there you go. Not a good situation there. They've issued a new special marine warning as this storm continues to basically hug the coast. Now, again, non-commercial vessels, I'm assuming, are back in port, being at this late hour. But this storm is obviously going to impact Homosassa Springs and Crystal River, and then follow all the way up to Cedar Key. So Ozello, Yankeetown included in that. Again, hopefully, though, again, all non-commercial vessels are back in safe harbor as we speak. All right, so the special weather statement does go for the next 13 minutes. The storm is beginning to push offshore. You can clearly see that cluster of lightning, which is still quite significant over Homosassa. So this is just a noisy storm. It's a rowdy storm. May not be the most intense that we've had all, afternoon and evening, but if you live in the Homosassa area, it's a light show out there right now, indeed, especially at the dusk hour. It's beginning to sneak offshore. There's still a fair amount of lightning east of 19, but not as much. My thought would be that more than likely, the Weather Service is going to let the special weather statement expire at 9. If they were to keep the special weather statement going and extend it, it would kind of have to be for like Homosassa Springs and Crystal River. And maybe if they think that storm is going to stay along the coast up 19 to Inglis. But my thought would be that they'll likely allow this special weather statement to expire at 9 o'clock as some of this activity is coming offshore, and they've kind of covered themselves by issuing that special marine warning. So now they're translating the worst part of the storm to go offshore rather than staying inland. It doesn't mean that after 9 o'clock, there's not going to be some good thunderstorm activity over portions of Citrus County. It's just that the storm is beginning to lose a bit of its punch, and now we're into more of a traditional storm, which is just good heavy rain and lightning. And remember, the only two criteria for a special weather statement or a severe thunderstorm warning are winds and hail. That's it. The amount of rain that's being produced and the lightning count has nothing to do with whether a storm gets issued a special weather statement or a severe thunderstorm warning. For a severe thunderstorm warning, you have to have 60-mile-an-hour winds and or inch-size hail. Special weather statements are normally for storms that are at least producing 40-mile-an-hour winds. But again, you can have a tremendous lightning producer and not have it be severe. Okay. Again, if you're just tuning into the channel and maybe you were impacted by the storms earlier, Executive Airport in Tampa had a 72-mile-an-hour wind. It is 72 degrees, but they also had a 72-mile-an-hour wind. So there was significant wind, and we'll have to see what kind of damage might have been produced out of the storms in Hillsborough County today. But in some spots, it could be rough. A lot of tree damage. And, of course, tree damage can lead to power outages. They go hand in hand. But this storm is still strong, but not severe over Citrus and Hernando counties. By the way, what has everyone had for dinner tonight? One of us hasn't had dinner yet. I'm somewhat okay because I had a feeling I was going to be on, and so like my whole family went out to dinner without me, which is fine. We're hanging with some friends as well. So I can't wait. I honestly have no idea what, if anything, they brought me back for dinner. So once I get off, I'll be curious to see. Mac and cheese, not the worst. I like me a good bowl of mac and cheese. But it's going to be a late night meal for me. So again, the Winter Garden camera is showing you the special weather statement storm. Still some extra cloud coverage over Sand Lake. And this special weather statement goes until the top of the hour. Anyone lives in Citrus County, let me know what's going on. Crystal River, Lecanto, Homosassa Springs. Some of the heavier rain has made Crystal River just on the northern edge, just getting hit a bit. It's still much more intense in the Homosassa area, but I wouldn't want to be driving down 19 right now. You do have to watch out, even in this scenario, for some ponding on roadways. 19 can pick up some water pretty quickly, even portions of 44. So just be careful, take it a little bit slower, no hydroplaning. But the storm movement was fast enough with most of this activity today that we avoided even flood advisories. That's just the lowest criteria for flooding. So luckily we never had that today, which was at least one thing that we were able to avoid. Nothing wrong with beer this time of the night, Noble Pills. I don't blame you. Now, if that was for your dinner, we're going to have potential intervention. If you're saying that your only meal was a beer, that might be an issue. Little storm up here in Marion County. Just a little cell has developed over Ocala. But again, that's all that's going to be. There's just a little bit of outflow in juice to produce a few cells in Marion County, but they're out there by themselves. It's past sunset now, so these storms are likely to pulse up. Call them pulse storms. They flare up for 15 minutes, maybe 30. Might produce some decent lightning, some heavy rainfall in an isolated area, and then quickly rain themselves out. I don't think these storms that aren't clustered up like the ones in Citrus County are going to hold together for the most part, right? They're just not going to have that opportunity to stay together like that. Frozen pizza. Well, I tell you what, smart grandma, it is, but at the same point in time, whenever we have our sea breeze storms and we get some severe thunderstorm warnings during our wet season here in Central Florida, I'll be on tracking them for you. So certainly not just going to be tropical storms and hurricanes, but any kind of practice is always really good, especially when you're talking about those kinds of storms. But I got you covered. Okay. So, guys, I feel pretty good about where we are here. It's a decent storm over Crystal River and Homosassa. I don't think it's pulsing up any more than what it is. A lot of lightning and a light show. But as far as this producing any additional severe weather, I don't expect it. The 31-mile-an-hour wind gust at Crystal Rivers Airport was recent. So it's a solid thunderstorm. But I would expect them to expire this special weather statement at 9 as it moves offshore. Elsewhere, if I go out to the big view, you guys can clearly see that we're done for the night. Now, again, a few storms in Marion County, yes, kind of along that outflow boundary, but although they might be intense in a local fashion, I don't expect them to get any worse than that. Still could be some pockets of heavy rain and lightning, but not in a widespread area. Okay, so with that in mind, I am going to end tonight's live stream. I think we're good. I think everything has calmed down enough where we can wrap this up. So do me a favor. If you got anything out of this live stream and you're still watching, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button and subscribing. Both of those help the channel out more than you can imagine, and the audience and all of that. Appreciate all of those who have watched before to tuning back in. For those for the very first time, thanks for taking part of your day, joining the CFLW live stream to see what we're all about. Again, if you liked what you saw, thanks for hitting that subscribe button. Appreciate our moderators in the chat. Appreciate those in green who are members of the channel. If you want to be a member, support the channel that way. Join the Storm Squad. That's the join button as well. Again, you get access to exclusive member short videos in between these live streams. Being a live only channel, I'm only on when there's impactful weather. So we'll wrap it up for this evening. I'll be monitoring the situation. If necessary, I'll be back on tomorrow, but hopefully things will be quieter. But the bottom line is, guys, as you know, whenever there's impactful weather in Central Florida is when I'll next be back on. Thanks again for tuning in on this Friday evening. It is now supper time. I am going to go enjoy, have a good meal. Hopefully you guys enjoy a meal or an adult beverage, and I'll see you soon here on the channel. Until then, my friends, take care.